Hello, everybody, and happy Love Week. Ooh, that sounded like a different podcast. Thank you for listening to Bumbershoot, where we're covering life's chaos with humor and heart. And it's the three of us, Charity,
Rhonda, and Tracy.
Yep, we're back. And first, we're going to talk about last night, because last night was the Super Bowl, and we were all together.
Yes, we were.
And Rhonda hosted.
Yes, I did.
And we all bought the little squares. Yeah. Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
And who won the first quarter?
Tracy.
Who won the second quarter?
Rhonda.
Who won the third quarter?
Tracy.
Who won the fourth quarter? Charity. Can you believe it? We trifectas that.
Yeah.
People probably thought it was fixed.
They said... Well, they thought it was fixed because Rhonda and I kind of put it together, but Tanya picked the numbers. And I won on two different sets of numbers.
Well, I didn't even put my names on the squares. Rhonda did.
So. I did that. Yep.
So the Bumbershoot dominated.
Yep. That's right, baby.
Last night.
We dominated.
Just like the Eagles dominated last night.
Heck yeah.
There were like 12 people on it, and we won.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Pretty good.
I've never won one before, so that was the first time for me ever.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, I was really excited.
That's cool.
I was too.
Well,
Jumping up and down even.
I might have gone up to a group at the end and said, you guys want to hang with a winner?
I love it.
Which is so not my style, but it was funny. I was just like, that was pretty cool because it wasn't mine until the very end. And then
it was going back and forth for a while.
The last play of the game, it became yours.
Yeah.
I feel like when we're at your house at Super Bowl, Alex wins.
You think?
Every time.
Oh.
I think, yes, I'm pretty sure I remember him winning every
You know me
year.
and my memory. My Dory brain.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't win all the quarters.
No, but he wins every year. He wins at least, I feel like.
Well, I think the host should win something.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's kind of nice.
I'm happy that you won.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, so sorry for the heartbreaks out there, but, there's always winners and losers in every game. So at least the Chiefs have their rings, so... I have to say
Many of them.
I do have to say something in honor of my Patriots that a lot of people were like, I'm so tired of Kansas City winning. I'm so tired of it. I want somebody else. And I was like, well, that's not really my angle because after all, we do have 6 or 7 Super Bowl rings.
Mm-hmm.
So It's not because I was tired of them winning. I just really liked the Eagles players and a lot of interviews I saw with them before the game.
Yeah.
They were really inspiring. And so I thought, I'm getting behind the Eagles.
Yeah, they had some good stories. I agree.
So congrats, Eagles.
Congrats,
Better luck
Eagles.
next time, Chiefs. And thank you to Pogioliano for our Cataratto today.
That's right. Cheers.
Thank you for the wine sponsorship. All right. So there was a little bit of a part of the story. Some might say a big part of the story that I left out or in chronological left out last week. So remember how I found out about a sister I didn't know I had? Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do.
Okay, well, when I was staying with my dad for that month, there was... Oh, wait, hang on. Back up, Jack. Okay, so before I went to stay with my dad, I'm not going to get into a lot of the details because a lot of this is it's kind of hard on everybody. Even with Lauren, I shared a lot of that. We've talked a lot over the years about all of it. And, I did keep out some of it, but there was a lot of that story that was really important in learning, and the dynamics and everything. But with this story, as I have said in previous episodes, there was several of us Kamala girls that were married. So when you're trying to look someone up and you only know their maiden name or last name, and they get married, you can't always find them. So let's just say that the one sister that still had our maiden name, Comella, she was getting phone calls and they seemed like solicitation phone calls at first. And long story short, it was relentless phone calls trying to find Gig Camilla. And she kept saying, my dad lives on the East Coast. I'm not giving you his phone number. She didn't know who it was. But they were persistent to the point where, I'm talking over a few months that she was being called while this person was trying to find, he said he was I think a private investigator or something like that. So anyway, my sister did not want to get entangled in anything, and she was just trying to like, leave me alone. She literally told the person, like, please stop calling me, leave me alone. And he finally said why he was calling. And he said, I've been hired by a woman who believes that your father is her father.
What?
So my sister was like, no, not again. Oh. And so she said, well, listen, I'm not getting in the middle of this. I will give my dad your number. And if he chooses to call you, great. If he doesn't, please remove my name and leave me alone. Because it's kind of disturbing that someone would haunt somebody like that. It's like, if you're
That's excessive.
If you're getting like told no, then find a different route. But anyway, they didn't. So, so let's just say that's where it was left. I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe that's where it was left. And then when I was staying with my dad in Rhode Island for that month, this message in a bottle came in a box to the house. And I was like, I was home when he got it and he opened it. And I'm like, what is that?
That's kind of romantic.
Well, I suppose. And so I'm just like right over his shoulder, and he opens it and it says, I don't remember verbatim, but something, and then I love you, Dad, Gina, or something like that. And so I was like, what? But I had known someone was trying to find him. So he's like, yeah, well, I think there was pictures of her and her family, like in his house, in my aunt and uncle's house and stuff. And I was just like, I had put the story together, but I don't remember if we'd already talked about it or if this is when I found out. But I do remember that there wasn't a long time. If I had known, it was very short period of time. And if I hadn't known, then that's when I found out. But I do want to say, she's the sweetest thing ever. She was on her own journey here, and I don't even know if she knew I was there, so I don't want anyone to feel like, she was inconsiderate or anything. But for me, this was someone that just met my dad and found out and verified. So she had flown out like Lauren had done, flown out, got the paternity test, verified. I mean, you don't need a paternity test when you see her. You're like, oh yeah, you're definitely a family member. But she did. And she's in the field of some of my family members. So they like quickly bonded, and she's so sweet. It's like, you cannot not bond. That is one thing I can say. We got blessed with sweet ones.
Yes, for sure.
So, and good ones, good and sweet. Mm-hmm. But still, like, her end of it is her story. This is just mine.
Right.
So I saw, and so my dad opens the bottle and it's a scroll, like a poem about a father. And I'm like, so I'm turned off. I'm turned off because there's pictures of her family in all of my family's houses. And I'm turned off because she's sending Dad a message in a bottle about being a father. And I'm like, he hasn't even been, like, he didn't even know about you, and he hasn't been there for you. So how can you send him a message in a bottle? Like, you have to understand where I was coming from was very, like, this is just, it's not natural. Yeah.
Well, it happened once, and that's kind of like a once in a lifetime thing, but then it happened again. So that's kind of.
Yeah, it was really hard. And really frustrating because, Dad, he's doing the right thing, right? He finds out, and then he is a dad to them, and he gets involved in their life. That's the right thing to do. But let's take us back to the beginning. So the choices that he made as a young man, they're his choices to risk consequence, right? So when we teach our kids, like, hey, these choices that you make can have consequences. And I think I know with my kids, when I talked about sex, I'm like, you could, it doesn't matter how much you think you're protected. Mm-hmm. You got to make sure that, hey, that's somebody that you're willing to commit to for life, because that is the commitment. It's, the experience is in the moment, but the consequence can be for life.
Lifetime. Yep.
And it's not only you that has to deal with the consequence, right? Especially, I mean, he was an adult, but when they're kids, the families all, sometimes parents raise their kids and things like that. So anyway, it's just to show that it's not just your bad consequence, although it is yours. You made the decision. You should have to deal with the consequence, not everybody else. But in this case, obviously, it was before I was born. She is actually older than Lauren. She's a little bit older than our oldest sister, or not our oldest sister. Sorry, that you'll find out about, but the oldest sister at the time.
Cammy.
Yeah.
She's younger than Cammy.
No, she's older than Cammy.
Okay.
And then Lauren's younger than Nicole. But so anyways, obviously it was before my time, but at the same time, like now it's my dad and now it's a sibling that I, also have, like now once it's like, what do? Ignore it? No, you have a choice. You can, it's hard so what I will share with you is that when you're an adult and you find these things out, I mean, I think it's hard no matter how old you are, right? Sometimes you're forced to live with your siblings that you find out about along the way, but as an adult, you don't. But I'm a very like the more the merrier. I'm very loving. I just love people and relationships. So it was a very big conflict for me in my heart because I'm like, I don't want any more siblings, but yet I don't want to be rude and mean and not accept her and all the things. So anyway, she didn't live in state either. She still doesn't live in state. But
where does she live?
She lives up north in Washington.
Oh, that's right.
So I didn't meet her in person. We got a little bit of time before meeting her, unlike Lauren, where we were just like, okay, now we got to meet her. And our grandma got sick. And so, not got sick. She was getting up there in age and she wasn't doing well. So we kind of all said we wanted to go right away. It was more important for us to see her and have like that knowing relationship moment before she passed than to be there for her funeral. So, but then Gina had only met her once, so she wanted to go see her again before she passed too, because she didn't grow up knowing her.
Right.
So we knew we were going to see her there, and that was something that was kind of weird for us too, because, wait a minute. Because Lauren came to Papa's funeral.
Yeah.
Did I talk about that?
I thought you did. I
don't know, because Papa died. He passed away before. Okay, now I'm a little confused.
The family reunion.
Yeah, the family reunion. But I'm a little bit confused on timelines because Gina wasn't at Papa's funeral. Or, no, it was Grandma. It was when Grandma wasn't feeling well. But Lauren was at Papa's funeral, and I was like anticipating that being really weird because she didn't really know him. Mm-hmm. So that must have been the second time we saw her. And it was probably a year later, maybe. I'm trying to think. Sorry, I didn't get all these, what do you say, ducks in a row? Because I'm totally off the cuff right now. But anyways, that was the one experience. But then this time Gina coming out for our grandma getting sick, but we actually it was fine. We all got along. We took our first sisters picture together and picture with Dad. And so that was really cute.
So it was 6 of you.
So at that point, yes, now there was 6 of us. Yes.
And so she resembles Cammy, right?
Yeah. Dad is like the Camilla side for sure. Okay. Yeah. Not the DeMauro side, which is my dad's mom, but the Camilla side. But to say, literally, she's just a sweetheart. And, I feel like because we were older, I was about, I kind of started saying that because we were older, and we live in different states. It's been kind of like we haven't bonded at the same level, obviously, that you would if you could really spend a lot of time together.
Right.
But she's an absolute doll. And she did come out for the 10-year Stars of the Valley, which was really special. And so it gave us more time to have, it gave us more time to spend with her. And then she was supposed to come for the reunion out here, but she was sick, so she couldn't come. So, but anyways, she's a doll and we adore her. So that was number 6.
Hey, number 6.
That's not all. We'll get back to that another time. Okay, so now we're fast forward to I'm engaged to Alex. And so, okay, we were engaged. We talked about like getting married, and we didn't want a big wedding because we had both been married before and it wasn't necessary. And he was like, I have to still talk to my daughter. I haven't really told her. Like, she knew we were dating. Oh, wait. Hang on. Before we got engaged, I didn't even mention her meeting her first, did I? I don't think so. No. So before we got engaged, she came out in the summer. So we got engaged in October, I think, somewhere around there. And she had come out in the summer and stayed with him. So because thanks to my circumstances of having half sisters and then becoming a half sister, I didn't even talk about my mom remarrying, did I?
You did talk about them getting married in Vegas, but not about becoming a half sister.
So, So Mom I did talk about my sister, I think, a daughter. Mom had a daughter when I was 21. So I was born into half sisters, and then I had a half sister born to me. Guys, I will challenge you to keep track of all of this, and maybe we'll do some kind of a call in and see if you can explain my family tree. But anyways, so it gave me a gift of really understanding both sides. So when, understanding having a stepfather, which I like to say bonus dad, and then having my mom be a bonus mom. I knew both perspectives. I knew what it was like for kids to be split between parents. I knew all of that. And so going into this relationship with Alex, knowing he had a daughter, that was something I intended on being very intended on being very intentional about and very sensitive about. So she was, I want to say 11, I think. And she came out and maybe she was 12, but she was 11 or 12. And so he wanted me to meet her, and I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? So the night she flew in, he had me meet them at the restaurant. And so they always stayed late and all the staff would eat together. And so I was there and she met me, and she's a sweetheart. And so I didn't know though where she'd be coming from. And as far as she and her mom knew, Alex hadn't dated. So this was new for her. So I made sure I didn't sit near him. He's very affectionate with his kids. And so he was very affectionate with her and really doting on her to give her that security, and totally fine by me, was not a threat to me at all. And so then he was like, do you want to do this with us? Do you want to do that? And I'm like, no, just do stuff with your daughter. But he did plan a trip to Hawaii, just the two of them. And so, I did do some stuff, and then he worked a lot. So I offered to hang with her. So we bonded so well. I introduced her to Sugar Ray, and would be blasting the songs, and we would sing Sugar Ray together. And she did go to school here 2 years, from before. So she spoke really well in English. So it was great for us. We were able to communicate easily with no problem. And she has that cute little voice, like Mimi goes with her voice.
Cute. She's super cute. So did she go to TV?
No. They lived in Orange County when her and her mom moved out here for 2 years when Alex lived in Orange County still.
Okay.
And then
I didn't know that.
Her mom wasn't happy here and didn't really make it, it wasn't her place. And so she wanted to go back. She was still young because Mimi and her mom are only 17 years apart. So they're like sisters. And then her mom, Mimi's grandma, really helped raise Mimi as well because Mimi has a young uncle, so he's only a few years older than her. So they kind of were raised like brother and sister.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So it was a support system that her mom was missing here because they were alone here.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
Totally understandable. But anyway, so Alex took Mimi to Hawaii, and when they came back, that's when scrapbooking was a big thing.
Ooh, I used to love scrapbooking.
I bought all the things, and we scrapbooked their whole vacation, and so she loved doing that. And then I braided her hair. Like I just did all the things with her. So she wanted me around, which was what I had hoped for, but I didn't want to be too much. It's really kind of hard to know your little boundaries there. So I tried to be respectful of like giving them their own time, but she always asked, is Charity coming? Is Charity coming? So I got invited a lot. Yes. That was the beginning of a beautiful relationship with her. So anyway, so then when we got engaged, he hadn't told her. I think he really did it kind of in a, he was overcome after me leaving and coming back. And it wasn't something that was discussed with her or talked about with her. So he wanted to tell her in person. Well, he wasn't going back for a little bit. So it was a big secret. So, and also because in Temecula, there was a lot of people from his hometown. Number one, the people that he bought the restaurant from. Not a lot, but there was people from his hometown or sister cities that he's like, if people know and it gets out, then she's going to find out and not from me. So I don't know what his thing was with not telling her over the phone, but maybe he was just worried about her feelings because it wasn't, especially back then, divorce and remarriage was not as common.
Yeah, and she was young.
Yeah. And he probably was a little worried about his ex-wife too. Well, maybe I need to both of them. I don't know, but I couldn't get in his brain, but that was what he chose to do. So I was totally fine with that. Then we were going, okay, so we had talked about getting married. I wanted to get married on the beach, something simple and casual and no big frill. So we talked about it, but it was kind of like win. Oh, I don't know, maybe here, maybe there, whatever. I was going through a lot of stuff in my family still with just all the chaos of all the explosion of my family that I wasn't really like in a hurry either. But we had planned this trip to Palm Springs. Alex loves Palm Springs. That's another place he was looking to buy a restaurant. So it was Temecula or Palm Springs. Wow. So we were going to go take a day trip there. And so I had a video camera, because that's, they were separate back then, and my phone. 3 things that now are in one. And then what did I have? A video, a camera. I don't know. That was it, I think. And we were going to take the tram up to the top of wherever.
Oh, yeah.
That was our plan. So we're driving the 215, and we pass Alessandro Boulevard in Moreno Valley. And I'm like, that's where the courthouse is. And I'm like, maybe we should go get our license. So that gives us 3 months to get married. And then if we don't do it that much, then we can just go and get it again. Not thinking if we're going to get married at the beach, we would need to do it in San Diego, but that's neither here nor there. So we get off he goes, okay, yeah. So we get off on Alessandro Boulevard. We pull into the courthouse. We walk in and we're filling out the paperwork. And he looks at me and he goes, you want to just get married here right now? And I'm like,
I didn't know this.
I am not getting married in a courthouse.
Why?
But then, no offense to anybody that got married in a courthouse. I'm like, no, I'm not getting married in a courthouse. You guys can't see my eyes right now. So I said, but then I looked at him and, my parents, my mom and bonus dad had just got married in Vegas not that long before that. And I go, want to go to Vegas? And he's like, yeah.
Ooh, fun.
So we dropped the pens, like a little movie. We dropped the pens, we grabbed each other's hands and we skipped out. I don't know if we skipped out, but we ran out of the courthouse, ran and got in the car and started driving to Vegas. No overnight bag, no.
Oh my God. I've always wanted to do that.
On the spot.
We did it.
To Vegas.
How exciting.
I love that too.
So we were driving, it's like you're in this high and then it's 3.5, 4 hours. From Moreno Valley, it was 3 hours to Vegas. It's like, okay, but we had a lot of conversation on the way there. And then we're like, are we going to tell anybody? And he's like, no, we can't tell anybody because, what if Mimi finds out? I got to tell her myself. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to tell my family, like at least my immediate family. But he's like, okay, well, let's wait until we do this thing, Yeah. So we get up there. I actually started calling to see if we could like do a midnight wedding or whatever, because we were getting in late. I don't know why we were so late by the time we got there, but it was dark. So I don't know how late it was, but I couldn't. Everybody's like, no, sorry, we're closed. No, we're closed. We close it this time. Nobody was going to be open when we got there. And I'm like, isn't this Vegas where they never sleep and everybody gets married in the middle of the night? Like, what in the world? So we just kept driving. And so we pulled in to the Little White Chapel, which is right on the right when you drive in. It was open at the time. So we went in and we said, can we get married tonight? And they said, oh, no, we're booked for tonight, but you can get married first thing in the morning. So we're like, wah, 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 okay. But I'm like, at least that gives us time to like get stuff. And, so we picked out our package at the Little White Chapel, which is literally like a checklist. Do you want a bouquet? Do you want a song? Do you want Elvis to marry you? Do you want it's literally a checklist of the cheesiest, funniest things. And so we picked out our little package, photo shoot included, and we left to go shop at Caesar's Palace. We went to the mall to shop for what we were going to wear. So I'm so practical minded, which is, I don't know if I regret it because it's kind of funny, but I'm so practical that I'm like, I don't think I should get a wedding dress. I think I should get like a dress I can wear another time. Yeah. Like I'm going to wear it another time if I wore it to get married. Come on. So I went in Cachet. I don't know if you know Cachet. I didn't know Cachet.
I totally do. Yep.
They sell gowns.
Yep.
So I picked out a beaded, like butter yellow beaded dress that had like roses on it, like small, like yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see these pictures.
Yeah, well, they're black and white, thank gosh. And then I was like, I don't want to spend money on dress shoes. Let's get a shoe I'll wear again. Again, I didn't wear it again, but it was like a slip-on boot because you couldn't see my shoes anyway. Yeah. And then he borrowed his best friend that served me the first time I ever went into Gourmet Italia, Claudio.
Oh, yeah.
He lived in Vegas at the time. He had moved up there. And so he borrowed his suit, his wedding ring. I just used my band. And so we went to Walgreens that night and got like toiletries. You know how it is when you don't have your makeup and you don't have your hair products.
I can't imagine.
Literally. Anyway, then we didn't stay at a casino hotel. We couldn't afford it, I don't think, at the time. Also, it was last minute. So we stayed at this, it was called the Tuscany, I think. And it was like a hotel only built off the strip.
Okay.
But it was Italian. So we stayed there and the rooms were like not luxury. So the next morning, no joke, Claudio meets us with the suit and the ring at our hotel. And the limo drives up, the white limo with the Little White Chapel written all over the side. And we get in the limo and we're driving back to the Little White Chapel. And
were you nervous?
To be honest, not enough that it's embedded in me. I don't remember being nervous. I'm sure I was a little bit, or just maybe it was more like kind of anxious than nervous. I was confident in what I was doing. I really loved him. And so I didn't, that wasn't a concern. But anyway, so we get to the Little White Chapel and the little pastor gal or the ordained minister is this soft-spoken, sweet lady who was in an all pink velvet suit with her red hair. Apparently she was the one that married Elvis and Priscilla. And we waited on a bench for our turn.
Oh, what time in the morning was this?
I want to say 10 a.m.
Okay.
So it gets so good, you guys. It's hilarious. So Claudio's the only witness, right? So he goes and sits. So it's our turn next. So we were nervous. I remember this.
Point.
We were standing out well, he had to go in. Yeah, we were standing outside and we were kind of like, I can't believe we're doing this kind of thing, back and forth. And he was nervous. He was more nervous than me, I do believe. So Claudia's in there. So then she pushes a cassette player tape for the
so awesome
music to walk down the aisle.
Love this.
So Alex walks down first by himself. I go in. I hadn't even seen the room until it was time for me to walk in. You go in, you guys. It's like what they're like wood, like constructed, like plywood cut out benches with the red velvet seats that are painted white with like those doves, like those like styrofoam, not styrofoam,
paper
but
mache or
like no, they're like, the stuffed birds, like not real stuffed birds. I'm trying to say they have like almost like hard styrofoam inside them, and then they put like the doves that anyway, they're hanging from fishing wire from the ceiling. There's like, it's all the cheesy stuff, right? So like everything you can imagine, that's what it is. But there's this sliding glass door that's like up where you get married, like where the ceremony is. So she's standing in front of the front row, right? At the end of the aisle, which is probably about eight rows of benches. And then to the right of her, like from our perspective, there's this like sliding door to outside. It's significant in a minute. So we approach and she stops the cassette tape. And she was actually super sweet. And what she said was very sweet. It was a beautiful little ceremony. I do have video one day. I'll show you.
Okay, good.
yeah.
So
I need to see this.
she starts talking about love and all the things. And as she's talking, the landscape guy starts pressure washing the patio outside, including the glass doors to the inside. So we start dying laughing, and she totally like ignores it. Like it's totally normal. And we're dying laughing. We can't stop laughing. The whole ceremony, we're laughing. We're just laughing at everything. Like, what are we doing here? It was just hilarious, which is kind of us anyway. Like we don't really take each other seriously. But yeah, that was hilarious. And then he was trying to repeat after her, and he just like, that was hilarious. And so then she played actually a really good song. I can't remember now, but like after we got to kiss, and then she like literally guides us with our bodies to sit in the front row opposite of Claudio. And then she plays the song, and you're just supposed to sit there. And so the videographer's like filming us. And when I watch it today, it's so me. My mom used to, because I eventually have children, she called me monkey mom because I'm like constantly cleaning their ears and cleaning their noses and cleaning their hair and making sure their hair. So picking on them all the time. Well, when you see me sitting next to Alex and we're just supposed to look at each other while this song's playing, he had like, I don't know, something on his jacket, and I was trying to get it off and I couldn't get it off. So it was bugging me the entire time. And that's totally me to get obsessed about things like that, and then I'm fixing his hair and anyway. And so it just records us doing nothing for however long a song is. And then
it's a long time too, like 2 minutes.
It was awkward. It was just like, just laughing and smiling and looking at each other. It's really cute to see our interaction that day. So so after that we had the dun 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 dun, and we left and we were married. So we kind of halfway celebrated. I think we went to lunch after and then headed back because he had to get back to the restaurant. And because we left on a Monday, so Tuesday his restaurant was opening, so we had to get back.
Wow.
And so on the way back, we called one couple friend of ours that we were hanging out with a lot. And if you guys ever listen, you know who you are. They're not together anymore, but they were the only ones we told until we got home. And then I told my immediate family. And one of my sisters was like, you're going to have like a reception or something so we could celebrate you, right?
Right.
I'm like,
that's what I'd be.
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
How did they feel that you eloped?
Probably relieved that I wasn't throwing a third wedding. But, they hadn't got to know him very well. They had met him, but I think the probably the strangest thing for them is that they, we hadn't been together a long time to where they could really get to know him. But also, it wasn't necessarily the time, but it was also where everybody was at in their lives. Everybody was kind of doing their own thing, and we weren't all together all the time. So, anyways, we didn't end up having a reception because he didn't want to celebrate until we told Mimi.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah. So we were married on February 12th of 2002. So
that's a lot of twos. That's your lucky number.
0212
That is a lot of twos.
Mm-hmm. And
is it your lucky number?
I mean, apparently, but no, I don't use it. I don't use it, but I mean, some would say it might be my lucky number. So yeah, we were married on February 12th, and then it was, I want to say it was like right around maybe April, May, that I went in for my annual ladies' doctor's appointment.
Pap smear? Sorry.
Thanks, Rhonda. Yeah, and they said to me, "Is there a chance you could be pregnant?" Which is funny because I don't recall them ever asking me that, but maybe because I don't know. I don't recall them ever asking that, or recall them asking me that. But I was like, I mean, I guess, but okay, so let me take you back. I was on the pill since high school. It started for my acne. And then I stayed on it because obviously I got married right out of high school, so I stayed on it. But I wasn't very responsible with it. And part of me was like, maybe subconsciously on purpose, because I kind of wanted to be a mom since I was born. But fortunately, God had other plans. And so I think God was my birth control because I was very irresponsible with the pill. I mean, not that I went off of it, but I definitely would like forget or not refill my prescription or whatever.
It's easy to do that.
Yeah. And so easy. Marriages worth of that. And so fast forward back to the doctor, I said, well, I mean, I guess it's possible, but no, because I just went off the pill like on, I think, 2 weeks before that doctor's appointment. Or maybe a month before, whatever. I had just gone off the pill. So I was like, I don't think so. So she goes, well, let's take a test just to be sure. So I'm sitting there reading a magazine, like, not a care in the world. And she walks in and she goes, well, and I'm all, yeah. And she goes, you're pregnant.
No.
And I'm like, no, it can't be. No, Alex hasn't told his daughter we're married yet.
God.
And she's like, well, he better tell her because you're having a baby. And I'm like,
did you feel any different at all?
No, not an iota.
Nothing?
No. But it was so early.
Yeah.
It was, I think I was 8 weeks. So I was 8 weeks. So it had been a couple of months. But anyway, it was very small time when you talk about that. And I know I was 8 weeks or 7 weeks.
Yeah, that's early.
7-8 weeks. And the doctor told me that I got pregnant on March 8th. So, which would have been, 3 weeks after I got married? And I was like, well, I know for sure I did not get pregnant on that day because I was down in San Diego partying with my best friend Heather at the time and my cousin Tommy down in San Diego. And I stayed the night. So I know for sure it wasn't March 8th.
That's not the date.
But obviously it was either the 7th or the 9th.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, oh my gosh. So they gave me a little picture of my little peanut with the little heartbeat. Aww. And I was like, oh, great.
Were you so happy?
Well, that's the unfortunate thing because I had dreamed to be a mom and get pregnant and all the things, but it wasn't the time. We weren't ready for it yet. And I was excited in my soul.
In your way, yeah.
But I wasn't sure I could be excited because I didn't know how Alex was going to take that. So I went to the restaurant. It was in the middle of the day, so it wasn't busy, thank God. And I said, can we go in the office? I have to talk to you. And he's like, what? No. I'm like, come here. So we go in the office, I shut the door, and I pull out the picture, and he's all, what's this? And I'm like, it's a baby. And he's like, no, you can't be pregnant. I go, I know, but I am. And he's like, I haven't told Mimi we're married yet. I'm like, yeah, you're going to have to tell her.
In a rush.
Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that because we're at 39 minutes and
I want to know what happens next.
I know. I want you to want to know. So I want you to come back next week. But that's not all. Next week, I will finish that part of the story and we'll get on to the next part of it. So yeah, that was a big part of my 2001 to 2002. Yep. You guys have any questions?
I just want Monday to hurry up and come now.
I love it. It's fun hearing it.
Yeah.
It's super cute.
It's definitely not conventional, I'll tell you that.
Nothing is.
I know.
And it's okay. Yeah.
It's fine. It is our story. It's funny.
More exciting.
Well, and it is fun to, this is a fun, every time I, this part of the journey, people are always like, oh my gosh, you should write a book. Because it's like, there's story after story after story. But it's a matter of whether I remember. Well, I was going to say, it's a matter of whether I remember them all or not.
And I think you do a good job at remembering all the dates.
Well,
of so many different things.
I'm a little confused about that, but I've told these stories for 20 something years now, so
I can't even remember what happened yesterday, practically.
Well, with everything else, but when you tell the same story all the time, it kind of imprints in your brain.
True.
So, anyways, you guys, so this week is Valentine's week, so I own 3 restaurants, so go ahead and book, but I'm not one to go out to a restaurant on Valentine's. You can also have a very romantic dinner at home. You can get food to go, but don't neglect your Valentine because even when they say it doesn't mean anything, it does.
So does.
And my anniversary is 2 days before Valentine's. So we get to kind of just do it in our anniversary. And I mean, we love Valentine's Day. It's a great day of the year for us. So it's okay with me, but it would be nice to get flowers or something.
Yes, please.
That day. Well, too bad Alex doesn't listen.
Yes, neither does mine, but I'm going to send him this one.
Or get your own.
Or, well, sometimes I do.
Sometimes I do too.
That's okay. Well, I always get him a little something just in hopes that he knows that I kind of I just like to be thought of more than a gift. I don't need, but I just want a little something that says, hey, I acknowledge that this is a special day.
Yeah, why not?
So anyways, but that's okay because Valentine's is a great day for Gourmet Italia, Bottega Italia, and Spuntino Pizzeria. Shameless plug for all 3 restaurants.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And also Stars of the Valley Golf and Gala is a great gift too. So if you'd like to get your loved one, significant other, whatever, tickets to that, we're still selling tickets at starsofthevalley.org. And we're going to have to jump ahead and tell you all about that.
Yeah. Right.
You might have to wait 2 Mondays to find out about the rest of that story. All right, you guys, we might detour next week. Okay, take care. Have a great week. Love you. Subscribe, follow, and shout us out.
Yes. Bye.